Former Lagos State Governor and leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has waited patiently in the wings for more than 6 years for President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure to come to a close. Despite recuperating for several weeks for an undisclosed ailment in London, the former governor has spent considerable resources to create the impression that he is physically capable of contesting for the presidency in 2023. Yet, as he nurses his ambition, the exchange between northern socio-political groups and their southern counterparts continues over whether power will shift to the south or not after Buhari steps down. Just yesterday, the coalition of northern groups, CNJ, warned the ruling APC, People's Democratic Party, and other political parties to desist from zoning ahead of the 2023 presidential election. According to the CNG spokesman, Abdulaziz Suleiman, the 16 northern groups consider the move by the South to circumvent northern people's rights to franchise a deliberate attempt to bastardize democracy. He noted that this will cause greater instability in the guise of a contentious, undemocratic power shift arrangement and was therefore downright unacceptable. To discuss what this portends for Tinubu's ambition, we are now being joined by Senator Adeseye Ogunlewe, a member of the All Progressives Congress and former Minister of Works. He will also be telling us when the APC is going to take a decision on zoning and what direction it is headed. Welcome to the show, Senator Ogunlewe, and thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Here in the studio. Well, very quickly, I know the last time you were on this program, you were promoting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria in 2023. Do you still hold that view, considering the fact that he has spent the better part of the last few months in the UK and people have been campaigning for him, even when INEC has not blown the whistle as to campaigns for 2023?
Thank you very much for having me. You know, to be a president of Nigeria is not a tea party. You have to be ready. You have to work for it. You have to have the structure, which is very significant. And you must be available for people to ask questions. Nigeria has gone beyond just putting anybody there. We must be able to ask questions, engage the person. What does he have to say about security, the economy? And we need a thinker, somebody who can think and who has paid his dues in the struggle for democracy. And we are appealing to Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu to come out and participate. It is not going to be easy. It's not going to be a dash. He has to struggle. He has to participate. He has to convince people that is available to serve. And that is, even on Thursday now, we are launching the Lagos State version of his campaign team, so that everybody will be aware of intention to contest. Then we move from there to participate in the National Convention to choose and elect the national executive of the party, which is very significant. Anybody who wants to contest election and does not participate in installation of the executive committee, national executive committee of any political party, should forget it, because they will play a very significant role at the National Convention when they are going to choose who is going to be the flag bearer of the party. So we are encouraging. He's sick, but he's getting better on a daily basis. We still have some time for him to recuperate and come back and tell us whether he accepts to run or not. But definitely, he has not said so. We are just thinking he's the appropriate person to run for the presidency of Nigeria.
Well, Asiwaju Tinubu certainly has the structure and he has the contacts. So how do you see him responding to these outbursts by the Northern Governors Forum, Northern Elders Forum, and now the coalition of northern groups? How will he confront this type of challenge?
Thank you very much. They are not too relevant now in the process. The first process is to install the national ESCO of the party. The second process is for you to obtain the nomination form as an aspirant at the National Convention. So anybody who is also interested can obtain the form. It's not going to be automatic. So we now go to the National Convention, about 4,000 delegates will now vote for whoever they want to be the flag bearer of the party. So they are very right. What they should do is to prop up their own candidate and let him come and challenge Bola Tinubu at the National Convention. And whoever wins, that is going to be the candidate of the party.
So you said he's sick. And when you say somebody that might be running for presidency is sick in this country, I'm a little very iffy about it. Why? You remember the case of Umar Musa Ardua? And remember what happened afterwards? You remember what happened to the country when we had sort of like that phase where we didn't know the state of his health and what was happening. And at some point, the National Assembly had to step in to ensure that Goodluck Jonathan was made acting president. And the late Dora Akunyili had to come out to say that even me as information minister, I don't have information. And she blamed the cabals, that were manipulating the back room. So when you say he's sick, hope we're not going to have an occurrence like that again.
Then that's not our prayer. Our prayer is for him to get better.
No, but you say he's sick.
No.
And that was how they said Ardua was sick leading up to the election. And Chief Olusegun Obasanjo reassured us that everything was okay.
Well, the man himself says, yes, he has surgery, but he's recuperating.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't know in what context you are using the word sick. And we have seen him, receiving pilgrims. His house in London has become a pilgrimage point. I haven't seen you there. Maybe you will go next week.
I'm ready to go already.
Oh, okay.
I'm preparing to go.
So you guys are starting your campaign from London.
So my question, sir. Yeah. You said he's sick. Reassure us.
No. That's what we see. I'm not a doctor. I'm not his doctor. But I can assure you at the appropriate time, he will be giving green kill of health, clean one, and he will start to campaign. But it's not so sick to the extent that we see him in picture now. He can stand up. He can talk. It's just for him to get better.
But why did you use the word he's sick?
Anybody that is in the hospital and go through surgery.
Why did you not say he's recuperating?
No, he was sick. He had surgery. And he said so. So
would it be fair to tell Nigerians the nature of his illness?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we've been told it's something to do with knee surgery and all of that. So that's not an issue. But let me ask you very quickly. This whole argument about North versus South, where the presidency should come from. Yesterday we were discussing the PDP, saying some persons are front runners and all of that. And in the papers today, there have been, reports about PDP. With regard to the altercation between the northern governors and the southern governors, what do you think will be the best choice, the best arrangement for Nigeria in 2023 in terms of leadership at the topmost level?
Thank you very much. Those people that are talking on behalf of the North, they are not the party members. We are not talking about voting yet. It is only the party members that have a stake in who is their candidate. So any group can talk. They talk when there is general election. But this one is a party matter. What are the people in the party saying? I'm always...
No, the governors are party members.
Yes.
And they've been speaking up.
They will never speak that they will not give it to the South because they are beneficiary of concession. If not by concession, why was there crisis in 2011 when they insisted that it was their turn? And they have to kill over 26 youth corps members in Bauchi, and they have to burn houses in Kano and all throughout the North because Buhari lost the election. Because their belief then was that we were cheating them, and it was their own turn to be the president. So I don't see any argument to say that they are not going to concede. It's not that they are conceding. It is the turn of the South. And they should be careful. Because we supported them to be president. But for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how can Buhari be president? So they cannot wish away the strength of the South. It is not going to be easy for them. Because it's not going to be by choice that it is going to be South. But the South must also be ready to compete. If they want to bring in their own aspirant, they should bring the person. The South will bring their own, and they will compete. And people will be able to judge which one is a better candidate. I think that is what we are going to drive at. The quality of the candidate will be important this time around. So, North, South, West, everywhere, prepare for the best candidate that will, map out the structure of Nigeria for betterment, not where we are today. So the caliber of the person must be very, very high.
Right. So it's not even as binary a choice as North or South, is it? In the South, there are people advocating for an Igbo president for the first time. There are people in the South who want a bite of the cherry. There are other people in the Southwest, apart from Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, who feel that they deserve it. Why have you supported him over everybody else? What do you think he has to offer at this time?
Because I've not seen anybody who has indicated interest. Bola Tinubu has paid his dues. He has indicated intention to contest by arranging with President Buhari when they are doing negotiation. That probably, after you, it will be me. I don't know the arrangement between them. But there are indications that he will be interested. We don't know. Maybe at the end of the day, he will say, I'm not interested. But we believe he's capable to do the job.
Why, beyond expressing an interest?
I have been his greatest critic. But all along, I start to admire him, how he has been able to maneuver through all the crises, and he was just moving on. He must be a great thinker to get to this level in Nigeria. And I admire his courage, his dexterity. He's a smart person. Don't take away. And he has been like that for long, when we knew him as a young person. And that attribute has been with him, to be on top of everything. And he's extra generous. He's a careful person. He cares for people. He cares for his friends. He cares for the nation. He cares for the state. So those are the attributes I've seen in him. And I believe if he's given the opportunity, he will do very well.
What were the things you saw in him when you were criticizing him?
I was in opposition.
So it was just because you were not in the same party?
An opposition cannot be a friend to a person in government.
So for you, it's about where your bread is being buttered.
So can we say that why you are supporting him now is because your bread is being buttered with Bola Tinubu?
He has no capacity to butter my bread at my level.
No, but you said then you were in opposition.
I am too high now, by the grace of God, for anybody to butter me.
So you said you were in opposition, then that's why you were against him. But now that you're on his side, that means
I've not
you guys
seen him for 5 years. You'll be surprised. I have not seen him for 5 years. I've not spoken to him for 5 years. So, so to speak, I'm not his friend. And I don't need his anything. I don't.
You're not his friend, but you are saying all of these things about him?
Because that is what I've seen. And that is the reality. Look at the number of people he has been able to breathe to posterity. He's not an ordinary person who, out of the old governors in Nigeria, of his own caliber, when they are there in 1999, that is still as strong as him in Nigeria today. So give it to him. He has this, he's an extraordinary person. Whether I like him or I don't like him, he has been able to prove me wrong with all his achievements. He said in 2015 that Lawan was going to be the Senate president. It was quartered. Look at what has happened now. He has installed him. He has installed Bajabi Amila. If you are...
Is he the one that installed Lawan?
Of course.
Because when you say things like somebody installed somebody, it's a slap on the face of Nigerians. So are you saying that one man can single-handedly install a Senate president for Nigerians? One man can single-handedly install another person?
When you are a politician.
Because you don't keep talking about, you don't talk about the people in all of this. It's always about one person.
If you are a politician, you strategize. Who do you think can be there and listen to me? You will not bring in people who will be in opposition to you, to lead.
So Lawan is there to listen to Bola Tinubu?
To listen to the party.
Okay.
But you know, Nigerians don't vote for the Senate president. Senators vote. Not Nigerians.
In any case, all of this is unimportant, in my view. What is important is that, yes, you are entitled to your freedom of choice, your freedom of thought, the freedom to change your mind, and to say, today I like this man, tomorrow I don't like this person. Then Nigerians will raise questions about consistency, about beliefs, about your moral choices. However, the coalition of northern groups yesterday issued a statement saying that the APC should not even talk about zoning, that the presidency must come to the north. Now, how does that affect the, the candidacy of your newfound friend? And you said he has shown interest. He has not publicly declared that he wants to be president. What we have been seeing is just all these visits, all these, efforts, showboating by supporters. And what you have done here this morning is to say, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the next president, even House of Reps members, all these bootlicking, lawmakers, when they are already calling him president, Your Excellency, president. I thought that was odd. But beyond all of that, right, what do you think of the coalition of northern groups? Maybe I said governors earlier. Coalition of northern groups saying, forget about zoning. The next president must come from the north. How will your group deal with that?
They are not party members.
No, they don't have to be party members.
Yes, they
have a voice.
That is general election. Their voice will matter during the general election. We are not talking about APC members. Who do you think can be their flag bearer? And many other people can come out. But we go to the national convention to choose. And it has to be by election. So whatever anybody is saying now, it should go and talk to the party members not to vote for who we want to vote for.
So you are confident that the APC will present Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as candidate in 2023?
No.
Are you sure?
He will present himself to be voted for at the national convention. You cannot sit down and say you are going to win. But you have to obtain the form, do the campaign. You cannot prevent any other person from collecting the form to be the presidential candidate. But you now go for a national convention. It is at the national convention that they will vote for the preferred candidate for the party.
Well, it may be good for Lagos and for some other persons. Do you think it will be good for Nigeria?
I think so.
How?
He has paid his dues.
No,
he
it's
has
not
been in
about
the struggle.
paying dues. It's about capacity.
Okay, let us wait for the time he said, I am interested. Then we'll ask him questions. We are now prompting him to come out and say, I am interested. But at the end of the day, he's not say, I'm not interested. There's nothing we can do.
So my question is about these trips to London, or pilgrimages as you refer to them. You also refer to our distant history with Umaru Yar'Adua, but even recent history with President Muhammadu Buhari and his long absence in the UK for health reasons. Whether or not we're talking about knee surgery, which is not indicative of poor health in any way, it's just a very localized problem. The optics of somebody who would be president in London and people going to pay some kind of homage is bizarre. What exactly is the purpose of these photo ops? What are they supposed to communicate to the Nigerian public?
That is politics. You know, differentiate between politician and Nigerian public. The attitude and ways of behavior of a typical politician is to grandstand, is to say, I am there, I am important, I am in control. And that is what is going on.
So they look important when they go there.
That visit him, they are visiting for a purpose to say, no, we care for you. We are with you. See the number of governors who have visited him. See the number of the president has also visited him.
Yeah, okay, so it makes Bola Tinubu look important when people come and pay homage.
Of course. It boosts his own, image as a nationalist, as the leader of APC.
Regardless of the fact that they're coming to visit him because he's not in the best of health, because he's recuperating in London, and what that could portend.
Unless you see him, or the doctor talks about his position, but we just believe he will get out of it.
Well, we hope so.
Very soon.
Why go to London for him? He was governor in Lagos State. Somebody would have thought he would have built hospitals that should be able to take care of knee problems while he was governor.
That is beyond my capacity to,
No, I'm just asking.
to explain. I don't know, honestly.
No, because we keep hearing all of this narrative of, oh, we'll build hospitals, we'll do what is well for people and all of that. But people still go abroad for medical care because when you look at it critically, probably we didn't build the infrastructure we ought to build.
You are very correct. And it is an albatross on the whole nation that, you know, how many years back, UCH was one of the best, you know, college of medicine in the whole of Commonwealth, number 3 or number 4. And you could mention Olumbe Basia, Professor Grillo, you know, prominent professors that could teach anywhere in the world. But what has happened since then is a miracle to me. When I was in University of Ibadan, we have 500 students from America every year. Most of our friends married them. That was the position of Nigeria before now. What went wrong, nobody knows. And we should not just mention it. It is very, very disturbing, very disheartening that we could be at that level how many years ago, and we are what we are today. It is not complementary to our country at all, in whatever form. Because I have been a beneficiary of good governance, where if you attended some colleges in Nigeria, you are prepared for leadership in the future. Igbobi College, King's College, you know, CKC, Osi College, Bariwa College. You know, the British prepared some colleges to train leaders of tomorrow. Government College Ibadan, Ibadan Grammar School, Ibadan. They were there as shining example of good education. But what has happened since then? So we should not be talking about the history of Nigeria to these young people. They will not believe us. Because at that time, if you attended certain secondary school in Nigeria, they have prepared you for the future. Because the type of education you go through at that time will be different from, will be the same that you will go to any part of the world. But that has collapsed.
Okay, Senator Ogunlewe, I see you are very strong on this Tinubu project. Are you considering any southern alternative within the context of what you said earlier about the fact that the presidency should come to the south? So, and if you are considering any alternative, who would those persons be? Let me put it like that. And then eventually, perchance, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not get the nomination, does not become a candidate. Where does that leave you as a politician? Because I know politicians don't retire. So where does that leave you and your supporters? You haven't thrown all your eggs, apparently, proverbially, into one basket.
No, it now depends on negotiation. You cannot be saying that it must be me or nobody. Others will come out, particularly from the East. I listened to my brother, Dr. Mbodo, and if you hear some of the Easterners talk, you will believe that this country might go the wrong way if we don't allow them to be president. They are in a fix. And I've told them, look, bring out two people who can negotiate on your behalf. Don't believe that they are going to donate it to you. You sit down as Easterners, bring out, you have too many quality people, and you have the money to compete. But maybe you are scared to come out and say, we are interested. Then a Bola Ahmed Tinubu person will sit down with you. Okay, if I give it to you, what is there for us? The Northerners will ask you the same question. And then you prepare yourself to say, okay, I'll give you this position, I'll give the North this position. They'll be more comfortable. That has ever been the problem of Nigerian leadership. We don't ask them questions before they become president. And that is what is happening now. Nobody negotiated what is going to go to his zone from the beginning. Don't allow the president to take responsibility for everything. Okay, we are going to vote for you, But let us sit down and share what is available. Who is going to be this? Who is going to be this? Zone all the position too and sign for us so that we'll be able to...
Where does that leave the Nigerian people who, you know, on election day will go to the polling stations to vote? Because we are talking about negotiation. Is that how it's done in Nigerian politics? The politicians sit at the table, they negotiate everything, they write the results, and the people do not matter. Because you are more or less saying the people don't matter.
It is the people we are negotiating on behalf of. Because they will ask you.
No, their power is in their, what do they call that thing? PVC. They are the ones to make the choice.
That is the question they will ask you. We are going to vote. What is our gain? What are you going to give us? Even at state level. How many commissioners are we going to give us? You cannot say, no, I'm not giving you any commissioner. And the people will vote. They will not vote. You have to tell us what you are going to gain from being your president or governor.
So this leads me to my question. The opposition from the north relates to this point that you are making. They feel that they have been threatened by the southern governors into accepting a southern candidate by all means, whereas it should be negotiated. What is your take? And how should the southern governors
respond? They are very correct in that
respond?
respect. You have to sit down and make them comfortable. And every Nigerian will know their tendency. If you're talking about Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Water Resources, you cannot take everything. They are more comfortable being Minister of Agriculture, being Minister of Water Resources, because they want to produce crops. Minister of Works, they will not quarrel with you. Minister of Education, they will not. This has been there since. If you know the history of Nigeria, far back 60 years, even the First Republic, there are certain ministries that you dedicate to some, zones, and they will be very comfortable.
So with all of this, what you've just been able to enunciate this morning is that nothing will change in 2023. So where does that leave an average Nigerian that wants their life to change as the economy is bad? Because with what you're saying, it's about you, the politicians alone. It's not about them.
On their behalf.
No, it's not on their behalf, because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for your own selfish interest as politicians.
Anything you get is for their purpose.
Not for their purpose, for your selfish interest.
No, in some cases. But in more cases,
is in your selfish interest as politicians.
Their behalf. Or any position you hold, is hold it on their behalf. Because you are going to report back to them. If you don't report back to them, there will be a problem for you. You must be able to tell them what you have been able to achieve and what they will gain from it. It's very important. It's not going to be... the type of leader, president we are going to have now, must be a listening one. Must be one that can, negotiate, that can be flexible, that cannot say, no, I've taken that decision and it's final. It's not going to be helpful. There are some ministries, some establishments. If you talk about maritime, you talk about custom, you talk about immigration, you talk about one part of the country cannot hold on for everything. You talk about personnel or police. All these things you must share. But if you don't share, you want to believe only in competence, and you give everything to a section.
But hasn't the sharing led to massive incompetence? You talked about agriculture, for instance.
Give it to the best.
The president had to sack the agriculture minister because nothing was being done, and this was done in the spirit of sharing. So there goes your sharing.
No.
Did he get that position on behalf of the people?
It is the quality of the representation that determines incompetence. You can screen him and know he's competent, but you cannot determine it. You may believe that he's going to be competent.
Ogunlewe.
At the end of the day, it may not be.
Senator Ogunlewe, before we go, you said a lot about sharing, about patronage, from Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the purpose of government. How about sharing on behalf of the people for the benefit of the people? Because the political elite, they just share, they share. How about dividends of democracy for the people? Or the people do not matter?
Our presidential system is not helpful for our national development. And unless something drastic is done, Nigeria may not be able to survive with the present structure. Because the president or the governor has absolute power to pick his commissioner or his ministers. And they may not be politicians at all. So what do? People who have voted, they are not represented in government. And then they run that government outside the political elite or even the voters, because you have brought a technocrat who does not understand politics, who does not have any affiliation with any community, who is not answerable to anybody other than the governor. So the people will be grumbling. They cannot even approach him and tell him, look, when we were campaigning, you promised us the following, because he was not there. He doesn't understand what you are saying. He's so, distant from the reality on the ground as a technocrat. As far as it's concerned, it's economic development. It's this and this. When we not happen, no, there is peculiarity in this community, which you must address. You say, I'm not for that. I must follow the books. It's a problem. But in a parliamentary system, it is the person you voted for that will be minister. It is the person you voted for that will be commissioner. So they are answerable to the electorate. In a presidential system, the members of the executive, they are not answerable to the electorate.
Okay, so in sum, I mean, you are saying that the system that Nigeria runs is not in the best interest of the people.
It will destroy us.
But we knew that.
And that maybe at some point we take a second look at the democratic arrangement in Nigeria. And I guess many Nigerians can relate to that. Thank you very much, Senator Ogunlewe, for joining us on the show.